From failing to jive with the king of pop to forming a love quadrangle with Carly Simon, here's what Mick Jagger's collaborators and bandmates have spilled about the iconic rock star over the years. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards' partnership has been the source of some of the greatest rock music of all time, but they've also had plenty of arguments over the decades, and the Rolling Stones' lead guitarist has been very open about them. He once told Men's Journal, "I've always found working with Mick is like a joy. It's a real pleasure. It's outside of the realm of work is where we tend to disagree." Richards has also criticized Jagger on several occasions, specifically for being self-absorbed, for altering his personality for the sake of popularity, and maybe worst of all, for diverting attention from the Stones with his solo career. In his autobiography, Life, Richards wrote, "What somebody else was doing was far more interesting to him than what he was doing. He even began to act as if he wanted to be someone else. Why would you want to be anything else if you're Mick Jagger?" The two have spent so much time together that eventually their tensions led them into having an almost strictly professional relationship. In a 2013 interview with Rolling Stone, Richards mused, "I haven't gone to his dressing room in, I don't think, 20 years. Sometimes I miss my friend."
The whole bloody thing.
Yes, the whole thing.
In a 1997 interview with the German magazine Focus, Rolling Stones guitarist Ronnie Wood explained, "People often get the wrong impression of Mick. The clever businessman is just one side of Mick. The other side is the same as the rest of us, a true rocker." When dining with Mick the other night, he discussed each song of our new album with the enthusiasm of a 20-year-old guy. More recently, Wood pointed out how impressed he's been with his bandmates' health, even as he nears his 80th birthday. In 2019, Jagger underwent heart surgery, a procedure that barely seemed to faze him. Afterward, Wood told The Sun, "He's just so fit. He sets aside 3 hours a day to exercise, and that's done him plenty of favors in later life. He's superhuman, really." Besides Keith Richards, the Rolling Stone who shared the stage with Mick Jagger the most was the late drummer Charlie Watts. Before his passing in 2021, he often expressed his fascination with the relationship between his bandmates. In the book The Rolling Stones, A Life on the Road, he explained, "There's a magic about them that people like. They always argue, but they always love each other. They know each other so well."
Mick is just the best front man in the world. I mean that in the nicest possible way.
Watts also described a key difference between Jagger and Richards by noting, "They're two totally different people. One is meticulous and detailed, and the other is a complete bohemian. But they both have a direction for themselves, and they can both see whatever it is." But Watts has also made some less than positive observations, as he once noted, "You'd imagine Mick would be the happiest guy in the world, and yet a lot of the time he isn't." Bassist Bill Wyman was a crucial element in the Rolling Stones sound for decades, but in the years since his departure in 1992, he's revealed why he doesn't regret his decision to leave. In an interview with Classic Rock magazine, he explained, "Instead of being nice and saying, 'Great 30 years, cheers mate,' Mick would say the most absurd, stupid things. With that spoilt attitude he had, he'd say things like, 'Oh well, if anybody has to play bass, I'll do it. It can't be that hard.'" Wyman was also critical of how Jagger could pretend to be someone he wasn't, as he added, "Mick and Keith weren't Londoners, though Mick always tries on his Cockney accent, which he doesn't deserve, really."
How much longer are you going to be with the Rolling Stones? How much longer are they going to be around? Are you tired of it yet?
About 20 minutes, I think.
20 more minutes and that's it?
Former Rolling Stones guitarist Mick Taylor has also had a rocky relationship with Jagger over the years. As he admitted to Mojo magazine in 1997, "We used to fight and argue all the time, and one of the things I got angry about was that Mick had promised to give me some credit for some of the songs, and he didn't. I believed I'd contributed enough. Let's put it this way, without any contribution, those songs would not have existed." On the TV special On the Road with Mick Taylor, the guitarist pointed out how his personality was perceived differently just because he shared the stage with the famous frontman. Many fans had assumed Taylor was quiet and reserved, but that wasn't the case, as he clarified. Anybody that's on the same stage with Mick Jagger is going to look a little bit shy. David Bowie and Mick Jagger were friends and collaborators for a long time, before the former's passing in 2016. Perhaps most notably, they performed a cover version of Dancing in the Street together for Live Aid in 1985. But Jagger learned the hard way that he had to be careful around Bowie when it came to their creative teamwork. The late singer-songwriter admitted that he would take ideas he liked and give them his own personal twist, and he even labeled himself a tasteful thief. Jagger wasn't exactly happy with that, with Bowie explaining to Playboy in 1976, "Mick Jagger is scared to walk into the same room as me, even thinking any new idea. He knows I'll snatch it." One of the first times that happened was when Jagger showed Bowie some artwork by Belgian artist G. Polaire that was intended for the cover of a Rolling Stones album. But before that album was released, Bowie hired Polaire to design the cover of his 1974 LP Diamond Dogs. As Bowie quipped about the incident, "Mick was silly. I mean, he should never have shown me anything new. Mick's learned now. As I've said, he will never do that again." The Who guitarist Pete Townshend has had the pleasure of working with Jagger several times since the 1960s. Two of their most significant collaborations were Townshend's appearances on a couple of Jagger's solo albums, 1985's She's the Boss and 2001's Goddess in the Doorway. But it turns out that Townshend was open to more than just collaborating musically, as he admitted in his 2013 book, Who I Am, a memoir. Although Mick was a friend, I was concerned by the thought that our co-manager, Kit Lambert, might be collaborating with our most serious competition. I was also suspicious he was having a sexual dalliance with Mick and felt a little jealous. Mick is the only man I've ever seriously wanted to f***. For years, guitarist Jeff Beck aspired to perform with the Rolling Stones, so he was quite happy when he got the chance to work with Jagger on his debut solo album, She's the Boss. He thoroughly enjoyed the experience, and then worked on Jagger's follow-up, 1987's Primitive Cool. But before they collaborated, they were actually already connected to each other in a weird way. As Beck revealed to Classic Rock magazine in 2021, "I used to get mistaken for him all the time in '61. I used to have girls screaming at me, and I didn't know what the f*** they were screaming about. I'd pull up along somebody in a car, and they'd go, 'Mick,' and I'd be thinking, 'Who the f*** is this Mick?' Then I realized it was this guy in the Rolling Stones called Mick Jagger." As Tina Turner tells it, she helped Mick Jagger perfect one of his signature skills. As she revealed to the Daily Mail in 2017, "Mick wanted to dance, and I was a dancer, but he never gave me the credit. He said his mother taught him how to dance, but we worked with him in the dressing room. Me and the girls, we taught him how to pony." Turner and Jagger famously performed 2 songs together at Live Aid in 1985. They also shared a controversial moment on stage, as he ripped her skirt off. He was criticized for the risque act, but it didn't seem to affect their friendship, nor was it a sign of a more intimate relationship. As Turner assured the Daily Mail, "We never slept together, and they never came on to me because I think they saw me as a role model in some kind of way."
There's a communication there that you can't touch.
When Carly Simon recorded her iconic song You're So Vain, with Mick Jagger providing backup vocals, it wasn't clear if the song was about her fiancé James Taylor, or actor Warren Beatty, or Jagger himself. Regardless of who the lyrics were about, Simon has admitted that there was a lot of sexual tension between her and Jagger while they worked together. In her memoir, Boys in the Trees, she mused, "If Mick could have his way, it would be Romeo and Juliet tragic. We couldn't have each other." The chemistry was strong enough that Jagger's new wife, Bianca, was convinced he was cheating on her, though Simon and Jagger reportedly never acted upon their mutual attraction. But Bianca was upset enough that she called Taylor the night before his wedding to Simon, though Taylor assured her that it wasn't what she thought and that he trusted his fiancée. Lenny Kravtiz worked with Jagger on the latter's 2001 album, Goddess in the Doorway. During a 2014 appearance on The Howard Stern Show, Kravtiz revealed, "I love him. We're good friends. We've worked together. But when you're in that moment and he's in the studio and you press record, I just sit there and go, my God, it sounds like Mick Jagger."
It's Mick Jagger just coming out of Mick Jagger, and it's pretty incredible.
Kravtiz was working at his home studio in Miami on the music for God Gave Me Everything, a track on that album. Jagger then arrived to help write the lyrics. Kravtiz was most impressed by the fact that after Jagger heard the music he produced, he left the room and returned with the lyrics just 45 minutes later. Mick Jagger's work with top talent in the music industry isn't all business, including his regular partnerships with Dave Stewart, formerly of the pop duo Eurythmics. As Stewart once revealed to Cinema.com, "There was a time a while back when I moved to Paris, and Mick and I became friends in Paris. We were always down the studio messing about, and we would just write songs for fun. And we've been writing songs for fun ever since, really in various places." Jagger and Stewart have teamed up for several projects over the years, such as composing the soundtrack for the 2004 film Alfie. But more significantly, in 2011, they formed the band Super Heavy, along with Josh Stone, Damian Marley, and others. The goal was to experiment and create something truly unique by fusing genres ranging from reggae to the sounds of the Indian subcontinent. The album Goddess in the Doorway included Jagger's collaboration with U2 frontman Bono and guitarist Pete Townshend on the song Joy. Afterward, Bono had nothing but kind words for Jagger. He complimented his impressive looks for a man in his 70s, as well as his business skills. As he told a German newspaper, "People despise Mick because they think he only thinks about money, but he is a businessman above all else. The fact is, he understands the business. Why? Because the Stones lost a lot of money in the beginning. I have to kneel in reverence to what he has achieved. What I like about him as a person is that he always speaks his mind openly, and he never talks much about himself. He's not a narcissistic person." After Michael Jackson wrote the song State of Shock, he reached out to Mick Jagger for what he thought could be the perfect partnership for recording the duet. Jagger was a little hesitant, but the King of Pop was ultimately able to talk him into it. It helped that the Stones frontman was already looking to branch out on his own, so State of Shock was released in 1984. The song turned out to be a hit, reaching number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. Despite that success, the experience wasn't a happy one for either artist. As journalist Christopher Anderson wrote in his book Mick, The Wildlife and Mad Genius of Jagger, Jackson reportedly asked about Jagger, how did he ever get to be a star? Likewise, Jagger thought little of the King of Pop, calling him, quote, very lightweight, like froth on a beer.